Hey everyone, it's John, your Gen X grandpa, and for my movie review this week, I'm reviewing Selfie Dad. Now that came out in 2020. It stars Michael Jr. as Ben Marcus, Chonda Pierce as Rosie, James Denton as Steve, and Dahlia Waingort Guigui, I think that's how it's pronounced, as Jessica Marcus. Let me give you the synopsis here on this movie. A reality TV editor in the midst of a whopping midlife crisis is convinced he can only be happy by fulfilling his lost dream of being a comic. He sets out to become a social media star, only to find that the happiness he seeks can only be found in a most unlikely place: the Word of God. Okay, so this is going to be your typical movie that is aimed at Christian families, particularly evangelical families in the United States. So this movie is rated PG. It's got a running time of 97 minutes. So let's look at the story, the characters, the themes, the execution or the quality, and how all of this ties together to contribute to sharing a message of the gospel to its intended audience, American evangelical Christians. So the story. The general concept, I think, is believable. There are many people who have pivoted from a traditional job to something online. There are a few plot beats that seem to come out of left field and aren't as believable, but I think for the most part, this idea of a middle-aged man who's just looking to make a change and sees success online as a way to do that, makes it look easy. I think that's a believable story these days. The characters, most of the characters, I would say, seem pretty grounded in reality, but there are times when they're almost caricatures of typical evangelical Christians here in America. It's weird also that the married couple don't kiss. Now, I know this is kind of a thing in Christian movies, family-friendly movies, that if the two people who are playing a husband and a wife aren't married, they don't kiss. But it seems kind of weird that they have these moments of intimacy and affection for one another, and all you get is like a side hug. So the themes of finding purpose and struggling to care for your family are big ones. Putting your family first is always a theme that will resonate with many Christian audiences. There are also themes revolving around trusting God's timing and character. It's also notable that the father is kind of playing at church, and this seems to be a common trope in a lot of Christian films, that it's the father who's playing at church, but not like the mother or something like that. And, it's the father of the kids, but the mother is always this stalwart believer who's praying for her family. Let's talk execution or quality. Overall, I'd say this feels like a made-for-TV movie, and given that it didn't have a theatrical release and went direct to video, I think that's understandable. Most of the acting is passable. There were a few instances where the directing and the acting seemed kind of amateurish, but I would say for the most part it was very good. Some scenes in the movie with Selfie Dad himself seemed more like stand-up routines than actual movie scenes, but I guess that may be part of the character, because Ben Marcus, the main protagonist here, is a failed or retired comic. Okay, now let's talk about how this appeals to its intended audience, which I would say is American evangelical families. Given that the intended audience is Christian families, I think this movie's message and themes would appeal to most conservative evangelical families. Themes like family first and trusting in God are certainly ones that appeal to this audience, but taking such a heavy-handed approach, though, it can feel pretty campy at times. And I think we see that in a lot of Christian films where there's this really heavy-handed approach to having to explain the gospel, explain the love of God, rather than actually showing the love of God. Okay, so that's Selfie Dad. I'd love to hear what you think about the movie. Let me know in the comments section below. As always, if you want to support anything that I'm doing, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/John Wilkerson and donate financially there. And of course, your prayers and your social support are also wanted and welcome as well. All right, talk to you next time. Bye.